Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 12th, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. There's Hawaii down to the bottom left there. There's the Pacific Northwest. Nice clear skies this morning for many areas, but that is going to change as we go on into tomorrow and Friday. We got our storm system here. It is off the coastline, and this thing is going to just absolutely send a storm train into California, and this moisture is going to try to spread north back up into this very dry Arctic air mass. It has a hold on the Pacific Northwest. Very chilly out there this morning. I believe it was like 22 or 23 degrees at my house. I'm not that far from the Puget Sound. Cool, brisk morning with hardly a cloud in the sky. So we're going to dive into those details here as we go through the video this morning. We'll take a look at all the latest here. We got some advisories and winter storm watches going into effect here, and we've got a couple rounds of wintry precipitation here for much of the Pacific Northwest. Taking a look at a bit closer look at things, you can see just how cold the ground surface is as you get Cascades and east. And of course, like I said, it was very chilly here west. Imagine what it feels like east if you're in Seattle and Portland. And if you're out there across Spokane and eastern Washington, Boise, and Idaho, Panhandle, and Montana, you don't need me to tell you just how chilly it's been in these overnight hours, especially when you take the wind chill into account. So here goes our storm system there, and it will be pushing in and starting to bring precipitation as we go past the midnight hours tonight for southwest Oregon. That'll move north and eventually try to move into western Washington also. And then we'll take a look because we got another system after that that's going to bring a bit of a warm up here west the Cascades, but we're not done with the winter weather across the Cascades and east portions as we go on into this weekend. There's freezing rain potential, additional snowfall potential into some of the lower elevations. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station where you call all this crazy weather we get, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Great smartphone app, easy to set up, highly recommended. And looking at Seattle this morning, the cold weather advisory, again, something new the National Weather Service has been doing. Portland's got them up as well. And if you look into the gorge, extreme cold warning. So if we click on that, you can see dangerously cold wind chills as low as 0 degrees Fahrenheit expected. So fun stuff there. Winter weather advisory is up for some of the Portland metro. Winter storm watches for some portions of western Oregon here as well. And if I click on the winter weather advisory, you see it talks about this for the Portland metro. Winter weather advisory in effect till 10 a.m. on Friday morning. So there's going to be some potential for some snowfall, but they're talking about maybe 1 inch and then ice accumulations to 1/10 of an inch. Winds gusting as high as 40 miles per hour, but we do have the chance to really bring a bit more snowfall than that. The European's been showing some higher amounts, and I'll show you some of the winds here and how long some of this cold air will be hanging on. Now, taking a look here down from Medford, Oregon, you can see Medford National Weather Service. Here's Roseburg. Generally rain to the lower elevations, but once you get up across the higher terrain, including the Siskiyous here, Klamath Falls, Crater Lake, it is going to be snowfall. And we got some big wave action up and down the coastline as well. And you can kind of see the pink there for some freezing rain potential across some of the coastal range, then into the Willamette Valley. Now, Boise, Idaho, check it out. Winter storm warning is in effect. Portions of southeast Oregon, including Burns, higher terrain as a winter weather advisory. So if I click on that winter storm warning there for Boise, you can see this goes all the way on in through. This one is for 10 a.m. on Friday. Snowing and snow and blowing snow expected. Total snow accumulations 3 to 6 inches. Treasure Valley and Magic Valleys and 6 to 12 in the mountains across northern Mulhern and Harney counties could gust as high as 35 miles per hour, blowing and drifting snow. So heads up for that as we go on in through Friday. Boise, not a bad snowfall coming up here potentially. And as we go for the Idaho Panhandle and western Montana, this is going to be going on through this weekend here on in through early next week. So winter travel conditions will persist. Now, taking a look at North America, we got Alaska right there. There's Washington, Oregon. Taking a look at our cold north flow, the ridge extended all the way up across the North Pole. Cold north flow driving back down. That's why we are chilly here across the region. And there goes our storm system. It's going to be hammering California and spreading precipitation back up across the Pacific Northwest. And then we're not done there yet, because even though things are going to warm up a bit here for places like western Oregon, Washington, some of southwest BC, there's another storm system rolling in with still some cold air in place for portions east of the mountains as well, and some freezing rain potential or into the Cascades where some of that cold air is still going to be trapped as we go on into this upcoming weekend. So we got a 1-2 punch coming up here, and then we'll worry about what's coming after that later. So one of the interesting aspects of this storm is that if I put this into motion, we're looking at relative humidity about 5,000 feet, and you can see the moisture moving up out of the south. But look at the east winds flowing off the Cascades, Oregon, and Washington. very dry air mass. We're getting some compressional warming with this. And again, much of the air mass well up above 5,000 feet is very dry. So it's going to take a while for this moisture to saturate it. And so we could be overdoing some of the precipitation amounts here, depending on just how strong the storm system is. You can see it does take a bit as we go through the day Thursday to finally start to saturate the atmosphere as this low starts to pivot across the region as we go on in through Friday morning and then push off across portions east there as well. Now, taking a look at that, the European, a 6-hour precipitation type. As we move up, you can see this is Thursday morning, about 4 a.m. Some of that freezing rain for the coastal range there. Some of the Willamette Valley, it shows some ice pellets there as well. Snow for the higher terrain. You can see that Siskiyous would be getting snowfall at this time. Then the snow starts to move up towards Portland, somewhere around 8, 9, 10, 11 a.m. or so, starts to move into southwest Washington. And again, depends on how quickly it can saturate this air mass, how strong these east winds are, and how dry they are. They could be looking at some better snowfall amounts across some of the Kitsap Peninsula for western Washington. And those east winds might help actually create some upslope there along the Olympic Mountains and kind of keep things dry for Seattle portions east. But look at, as we go all the way on in through Friday morning, we're still dealing with this freezing rain potential for some of the Willamette Valley. The easterlies are still going to try to be flowing through the gorge back out, reinforcing that cold air. But then we'll get a shift to the southerly winds at some portion on Friday. And of course, that transition is going to mean everything. As you can see, the European tries to hold some of that freezing rain all the way on towards the noon hour before that system kind of kicks through. And then we've got the next one rolling in here, and you see some mountain snows as this one warms things up west. But look at this, freezing rain maybe for the gorge still as you're going through Sunday morning. Some of the Cascades, eastern Washington, eastern Oregon. Yeah, you see that pink showing up there. It could be causing a glaze there as we go through Sunday morning, and kind of hanging on here a little bit. It shows all the way through Monday, and then we go back to more of a normal, warmer, wetter pattern, it looks like. And not even so wet, because some of the extended models are not showing us being above normal, but I'll show you more on that here in a moment. Total snow-to-chart ratio in inches on the European. So this is the latest. And you can see that with the initial surge of moisture, it does bring some precipitation up towards western Washington. Some of this snow could move a bit further north than what we've been talking about, up towards Arlington or portions of Whidbey Island. There's Everett here, Seattle. And then as this low is kind of spinning around, kicking through, things get saturated. And if enough cold air, and if it's deep enough, the European wants to show, a couple more than just 1 or 2 inches, to 3 and 4 locally here across some of the Portland metro there. And you can see the Cascades, Oregon, the big winners out of this initial round. And then the next system will come pushing in here as we go through Saturday night and on into Sunday. A nice round of snowfall for the Cascades of Washington there. But you can see we have some snow to deal with. And again, some freezing rain is possible there east of the mountains also. And even for the Columbia River Basin of eastern Washington. So accumulated freezing rain in inches. So here we go. We're going to scroll through Thursday morning. And again, you can see this starting very early tomorrow morning. So anytime after midnight, watch out for this across some of the coastal range. And it starts creeping into the Willamette Valley as we go through the day Thursday. And then, here we go through Thursday night. We're now into Friday morning. And you can see some areas getting up over 0.2 of an inch of freezing rain. The European not showing too much for the Portland metro right there. And then we scroll off in towards this weekend, and you can kind of see that glaze potential as we go on in through Sunday morning as well. Now, taking a look at Portland's here. So this is the north wind coming down the Willamette Valley now, and the east wind's coming through the gorge there. And as long as you got that going on, you got that freezing rain potential with that lower level air mass, that cold air being reinforced. So we scroll on in through Wednesday coming up. Here goes the moisture. North wind still going down the Willamette Valley here. You see that? That's reinforcing that cold air. And then we start to go in towards about noon on Thursday. See the east wind still flowing, north wind down the Willamette Valley. You can imagine the moisture riding up and over that. It's going to be cold at the surface, probably sub-freezing temperatures. And we go on in through Thursday afternoon. Still got that north wind there as we go through Thursday evening. East wind still coming through the gorge as we go through Friday morning. And then things start to get a bit more squirrely, and we start to kick those southerlies up the Willamette Valley here as we go through some portion on Friday morning. That's why the winter weather advisory goes through Friday morning. So heads up for that. There's going to be a transition that we need to watch closely as we go through the day Friday to see when the southerlies are finally going to scour out that lower level colder air, and the easterlies stop for western Oregon. Now, taking a look here, this is just a graphic I've been showing the last few days. If you've been watching, you know this. Cold air is stubborn. It wants to hang around longer than the models say it will. So something that we have to watch very closely, again, on the day, actually Thursday and Friday morning here before that transition takes place. And if we look at Portland International, this is what's known as a sounding. So you're looking at a cross-section. Up here at 200, that's about 39,000 feet. We're down here at the surface, right? The red line is the temperature, and you can see 0 Celsius right there. So we are below freezing and a fairly dry air mass. So we're going to scroll on in through Thursday morning, and you can see how dry, again, the air mass is. We actually get above freezing in a layer there around 5,000 feet or so. And then we start to bring the precipitation in here as we go through Thursday morning, and you see it does start to saturate and cool down the air mass. But watch what happens as we go through later on Thursday. See that warm air right off the surface, but the sub-freezing temperatures at the surface. That's the freezing rain potential as we go through Thursday afternoon. You know, we go through Thursday evening, Thursday night. You're still at 30, 31 or so for Portland with the warmer air aloft. Depending on how thick that cold air is and where exactly you are, could be some ice pellets falling through there, but some areas still could be getting snow away from Portland International at this point. But that's the freezing rain profile look right there. And then we scroll up in towards Friday, and you see things start to warm up finally as we go on in through Saturday morning. Now, taking a look at Seattle as well, I just want to kind of show you just how dry the air mass is. So some people are going to be disappointed with not seeing too much in the way of snowfall for Seattle, especially portions off to the east of the Seattle metro, it looks like, and some of the Kitsap Peninsula may be a winner here, and I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But again, 925 millibars. I just want to show you how strong the easterlies are going as we go on in through tonight. Look at them just still ripping across the gorge. Fraser River outflow goes all the way through Friday morning. Notice the northerlies down the Puget Sound as we go through the day Friday. And then finally, we get the switch to the southwest winds on the day Friday, and that's going to warm up the surface areas for much of western Washington and to change things over probably to rain at some point on Friday if it is still precipitating at that point. Now looking at daily 2-meter minimum temperature. So let's put this into motion. This is for tomorrow. Still pretty chilly here across some portions, especially east of the mountains. But then as we go through Friday morning, Saturday morning, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you can see, I mean, it's still on the chilly side east, but nothing like what we're dealing with right now. You can see some sub-zero temperatures out there, daily 2-meter mins. And let's see the North American, the National Blended Model, sorry, and you can kind of see the more normal pattern here coming up. After Friday, we're not looking at wintry precipitation west of the Cascades for a while here. Not that we're done with winter just yet. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. You can see the near normal here, below normal across the eastern portions. 6 to 10 day, look at that below for California. Still got that above normal here for the Pacific Northwest. Then we start to warm things up even more the second half of February. And again, kind of a mixed bag here, 8 to 14 day. Something I want to do here after showing this, but I'll get to that in a moment. You can see that we do have a below normal snowpack here across a lot of Washington state. So we really need to try to make this up. This is not a good look for a La Nina year. This is not expected that would be below normal at this time. We've been very, dry, to be honest, for much of the higher terrain. So Oregon has been above average, however, in kind of a mixed bag here across portions of Idaho and Montana. And the drought monitor not doing too bad as well. And check before you go on the avalanche danger. But I want to go back and show something here. We're going to do European, and I want to go over this one more time here. So I just want to kind of show you that you can see the Kitsap Peninsula. It could be favored here. And I want to point out this snow band here across some of Snohomish County as well. It's kind of been showing up in some of the runs. Some of the GFS has been showing that also. And you can kind of see the lack of snow right there. The resolution of the European isn't enough to really show just how dynamic that may be. And it may really limit some of the snowfall accumulation Seattle east. But as those east winds come through, they kind of bank up against the Olympic Mountains, and you can get some of that lift, and you can get some enhanced snowfall amounts across the Kitsap Peninsula and kind of an in-between boundary here right across the Puget Sound. But you can see that it does show some decent amounts across southwest Washington as well. So we have one more day to look at this for western Washington. We'll go ahead and do that. I work one more day, then I may be out chasing tomorrow. But yeah, some interesting stuff there. Winter storm coming in here, and then we get a break from winter for a while, at least west of the Cascades. And we do warm things up here across the entire region. So anyway, what else? Hope you guys are having a good day. I got one more day at work, and I'll be back out chasing. And yeah, if you're paying attention down in California, I'll be doing my video here next, California Weather Watch. Check out that channel as well. But otherwise, click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.